Hey folks, this is Vint with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly check out Zero Orders Tactics. This is a game that's coming to Steam on November 4th, 2024. This is a preview build, so everything that you're about to see is subject to change. You will be unlocking content as you continue playing this game. You're going to be unlocking new characters, new abilities, new content, different things like that. So just be warned that, as you continue playing this game, you're going to be unlocking new things. So what you see in the beginning here is definitely not all that the game has to offer. So what is this game all about? Well, it's a tactical game where you're going to be guiding your units to victory. You don't get to control them per se. It's not like a real-time strategy game where you're going to click and choose where units go. Rather, you're going to shape the battlefield and figure out what their quirks are and make tactical decisions with your troops based off of the information that you have in front of you. So, as an example, the one mission that I did, I had to escort these civilians to the castle. These civilians will move automatically along the road. There's nothing I can really do to change that. And my goal is to protect them. They will move forward every turn. Enemies will spawn as well. There's a deploy phase where I can put units down and the enemy will put units down. And typically, my units go from left to right, and the enemy's units go right to left. And each of my unit types behaves a little differently. And again, I can't control them directly, but I can see where they're preferring to go. For example, footmen do not like, or I can't remember what it was, but like the footman, for example, may not like the grassland, or the archer may not like this particular terrain tile, or the horseman may not like this particular terrain tile, but loves this terrain tile. So the different classes that you have will go in the direction that they prefer to go in, but that's where the tiles and the tile laying comes into play. If you see that one of your archers, for example, or one of your rogues are moving in a direction that you don't want them to go, you can put a terrain tile down and on the spot where they're going to sort of dissuade them from going that way. So you can kind of shape where they're going by changing the terrain on the board. And likewise, you can kind of do the same thing with your opponents. Like, if your opponent has an archer that's about to shoot you, you could put a mountain blocking his line of sight, right in front of him. So there's a bit of, tactical thinking in this game. You also have mana and spells in this game that you can enable that kind of gives you a push over your opponent in some situations. You have limited mana, so you kind of have to use that wisely, as is typical. But ultimately, you're trying to keep the main goal of the map in mind. And again, in this case, it was escort the civilians. So I just had to keep killing the enemy and just protecting the people as they made their way toward the castle. And so as long as one of them made it, that was fine. And if my troops end up going all the way up the board to the right, typically they get returned to my hand. And there is a turn order. Typically, the blue units mine will move before the enemy units. Typically. The civilians, on the other hand, kind of go last, so you still have to protect them at the last possible second if you can. For example, I had 2 or 3 different enemies bearing down on the last civilian trying to get into the castle. So I would have to think, okay, so this thing is being attacked by 3 different directions. What do I do? And one of my ideas was, okay, let's put a swamp down here. Nope, didn't dissuade them from going that way. So I hit the undo button and I love the undo button. It's great. But that didn't work. So I'm like, okay, what about a mountain? That would force them to go around and they couldn't attack from there. But then I had this other unit that was able to attack backwards diagonally, so I kind of had to kill him with a horseman. The horsemen are fast, which is nice. So typically you spawn your units on the left, but you can replace existing units on the field as well, which is nice. So if there's an archer that's right in front of an enemy unit, you can replace him with a rogue or a footman or something that can attack in a short range combat melee thing. So I like this. It's very tactical, and it makes me think. You can play 1 terrain per turn, 1 unit per turn, and I think there was maybe play 1 spell per turn. But it looks like you could also replace units at will as well. I didn't see any sort of limitation. And if you happen to lose a unit, because the enemy killed it, you will get it back. It just takes some time to like refresh, kind of, sort of. Now, like in Slay the Spire, there's like an in-between where you can choose where to go next. There's even the ability to change your hand every battle as well. So if, let's say you have 3 grassland tiles in your hand and you don't want that many, maybe you want a water tile or a mountain tile in there, you can kind of swap things out. And you also get new units as well. So the Ghost, for example, it looked like the Rogue for a minute, but then I saw that it could move through every tile, like mountains, for example, and water, whereas the other units typically couldn't do that. So that was interesting. I really look forward to seeing like what all the different units can do so that I can kind of like gauge how best to come at certain situations. There's also a skill tree. You're going to be spending XP in this game on a run to level yourself up, increase your hand limit, or increase your mana, or whatever. So there's an XP skill tree at play here that you'll be able to make use of in order to make your units stronger. And lastly, like I said, there's a Slay the Spire-esque map where you can choose along a branching path where you want to go next. I do recommend this game. If you like tactical games, then definitely check this out. Just keep in mind, you're not going to have like direct control over your units. You have to shape them with the terrain and by observing any perks or preferences that they have. And as long as you don't mind that, then I think you'll really enjoy this game. It plays very similarly to other roguelikes out there, but this one does something different. And I'm glad to see like an auto battler style turn-based hex thing going on here, but with like terrain manipulation. It's all really cool. This is Vince. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Take care.